Oh, I was waiting for a 1.
Stop. When you do any kind of recording, you go 5, 4, 3, and you don't do the last 2.
I should have known from I Harley as well.
Yeah, that's a good reference right there.
Are we restarting, or are we just going into it?
Oh no, it's recording.
All right, welcome to 001 Radio. Welcome back to the show made by bad people for bad people. Maid Dragon Season 2 was just announced today, and that has made my day, and indeed probably my month. So, today we'll be talking about a few things, a few logistical formalities, and then we will be talking about episode 3 of Toradora, because it's kind of a self-contained little arc in there, and it's a good single episode talk about. So,
yeah, the first of those things we're going to talk about is the intro to the show. That
we are going to do that.
You kind of have to, say your name.
Yeah, I'm Ben, and I am joined by, as usual, Ryan. My roommate. He's a nice guy.
It's co-host.
Yeah.
Man, we're so professional.
That's the point, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a 001 Radio podcast, back again at it again on a Wednesday. Not for us, but for you.
Today
Hopefully.
Is not Wednesday, but it will be.
Yeah, it will be.
Fantastic.
I think that's a great segue into our first discussion point, the schedule of the show.
Wow. Am I talking about this? We will be doing biweekly at the very worst. That is on Wednesdays. That is our goal, is biweekly on Wednesdays at the very worst. And time permitting, we will be making another one, and releasing weekly if we have enough time. And we're going to try and record some backlog as well, so we'll be able to get those out to you more regularly, or not even more regularly, but just more quickly. But expect, at the very worst, bi-weekly on Wednesday.
Yeah, it's always going to be on Wednesday, unless there's some kind of change. That would only really be due to RSS feed analytics once that's set up, but that's going to be a while, so it shouldn't be an issue. Generally, though, the setup for this podcast is we record typically on the weekends, and then edit the show together and put it out on a Wednesday. Which, yeah, so long as we have time every week to record, especially because some of these episodes will probably be getting lengthy, especially when we start to cover more than 1 or 2 episodes in a show, it can be time consuming. So as of right now, we're bi-weekly at the worst, hopefully moving to weekly soon. Yeah, that's the plan so far.
It's a good plan. So let's move into episode 3 of Toradora.
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
Well, I think the big reason why we're only covering 1 episode this arc is because it seems like I haven't seen the show through before, and I really don't remember what happens from the first few episodes I did see. The preview shows blue-haired girl coming in. I don't know who that is, but I'm gonna assume her arc is more than 1 episode, and we could really want to do that in one go, or at least our introduction arc.
Yeah. Having seen it, I can definitely tell you that it is a fairly long, I think it's 2 or 3 episodes or something, but certainly longer than this arc. And it's its own self-contained arc, so this episode's kind of separate. It's better to not move into that.
Yeah, we didn't want to make it so that this episode wouldn't get its fair shake.
It is a good episode as well. There's a lot that goes on, so there's plenty to talk about. I'm sure we'll.
Yeah, and I think this one has a lot to talk about in the way that Toradora tells stories, especially because this is what I would probably count as a filler episode in most shows.
I mean, it's definitely not, though.
It
does a lot to build Minori's character and their relationship, and Ryuji and Minori's character.
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't count it as a filler episode.
Actually, I would say this is Minori's intro episode, really, because Kitamura had his on episode 2, and now Minori gets her episode with Ryuji.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought this one was really entertaining most of the way through. Though the entire time I was feeling extremely bad for Minori, knowing people that do work like 4 jobs. It's horrible.
Yeah, but I mean, she puts herself through it. Especially, I mean, like, even the people that we know who put themselves in that situation do it on purpose because they're kind of like workaholics or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think she's kind of the same way.
It's definitely a fair point. So moving through the start of the episode, the big thing, Sleepy Taiga is best Taiga.
That's true. That's very true. I see that it's on the note sheet, and I watched the first 2 seconds, and I thought the exact same thing. So
Yeah.
there's definitely no arguing there.
Slight tangent here. I love that we have a like 2-page sheet of notes for one episode, and we don't write show notes for the opening of the show. It's great.
Yeah, why would we? It's spontaneous. It's supposed to be that way.
Yeah, it's bad, just like us.
Nice. The show made by bad people for bad people.
Now, this is really where Minori, Kushida, I'll probably say both all the time, constantly mispronouncing them all the time, kind of comes into her own. We really see her character explored far more than we have before. She's just kind of been there in the other episodes. Whereas in this one, she's really the main character of these episodes, aside from Ryuji, but even then, he's really kind of just there. And my weird first reaction to her was that her voice was aggravating.
It is a bit. I mean, it's very moe, isn't it? But like, that's what you get. You got to have at least one super moe character in an anime.
Yeah, but I feel like
she's it.
She doesn't. I think my problem with her is her voice doesn't sound like it should. Like, she looks a certain way to me, and her voice doesn't fit that image at all.
Well, it also plays into her character because she kind of plays up that bouncy personality.
Yeah.
And we see a bit of that fact when later on in the episode, when they go into the shed and they talk a little bit more openly.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't cut off there. That makes it sound really bad. When they go into the shed.
I was just developing my thoughts.
Yeah. I don't know. Her voice does kind of like, it still grates on me after like the entire episode. I don't know. I'm not really certain why, 100%, but it does. So that's my one note on that. And importantly, we are both watching the Japanese dub, the English subtitled.
Dub. Yeah. So they went through and dubbed it again in Japanese.
In Japanese.
Yeah. I agree, I suppose. At least it seems that way at first. I don't remember how I felt the first time I watched it, but her voice has definitely got a very moe edge to it in the way that a lot of people might have problems with, especially those who don't watch anime. Like, I can understand when people tell me their voices just sound so dumb, and I'm like, yeah, they do. And then she's definitely no different. So, valid argument.
Yeah, I think it's because I'm coming off of a kick of playing a lot of games that have like female protagonists, and reading a book with a female protagonist, and watching other anime that have deeper voiced female casts.
Yeah.
So going back to like the moe type of voice acting is just kind of like another transition.
It's jarring.
Yeah, especially coming from shows that don't have a lot of that. But yeah, that's like my note on her voice. I'll update by the end of the show on whether or not I think it's still like an issue for me. Yeah, it does fit her character though. I think it's just it looks like,
and I think you'll see as time goes on, it kind of fits into her character even better. Yeah.
You know what? I think I've identified why it might be. It's because she has the same haircut as a lot of characters that are voiced by one Japanese VA that I really like. If you've seen Hunter x Hunter, Karapika's VA.
Oh yeah,
the
Karapika.
Best girl.
Doesn't she? Isn't she from Bakemonogatari?
Yeah,
the monkey.
Kanbaru. Yep.
Yeah. God, Kanbaru.
This looks like a character I would expect her to voice. I don't know why. I'm typecasting people.
Yeah, I mean, she does kind of fill the stereotypes as well. She plays softball. She's kind of sportsy, you know. She does.
Yeah, but her voice is much deeper. So,
Moe.
I think that's why.
Anyway,
Yeah, this
Moving
is
on.
literally like 2 seconds into the show. So next is she's a softball girl.
Yeah. And Ryuji's like ogling because, he's all into Minarine, and that's just how it goes.
Yeah. I wrote down Ryuji as pervertized. It's like real obvious.
And then Taiga takes him out.
Yeah, I'm not gonna falter for that one. It was really starting to get out of hand. But
yeah, that was the joke, because he was looking at her and she's like, stop.
yeah,
In the eyes.
So I think when we did the last 2 episodes, I talked a lot about how Ryuji seems more like he is beginning to accept the fact, or not accept the fact, but notice that he might like Taiga, because it's very clear that at the end of the show that's what's going to happen. But as of right now, you really see like the 180 he does when he's around Minori.
Yeah. But again, it's a 180, and we talked a bit about this. It's a 180 in the way that he's like expects himself to like her or something like that. Like, it's not even
it's like
the way he actually feels.
Hardcore crush. It's that like middle school infatuation style thing. It's like kind of neat how the show portrays that as well. It's very, I feel like it's way more obvious with Ryuji than with Taiga. I think with Taiga, it's obvious that it's a crush, but she's also almost shyer than Ryuji.
Well, yeah.
So it seems to fit her character more, whereas Ryuji is just like, normally he's pretty like social and normal, and then occasionally like he shows the box in the first episode of things, and you're like, oh, he might not be as normal as we thought.
Well, because he's like outgoing with everybody that he doesn't like, and then you clam up, because that's just how it works. And it's a high school anime, and that's how romance is in high school anime.
Yeah. And then we cut to the OP.
The OP. Yeah, it's good.
It's
the same as it was last time.
Blue-haired girls.
I still headbang
Don't know who it is.
to the OP every time. So no change there.
Yeah, I still like all of it except the very like middle.
Fantastic. Right after the OP, it's in the classroom. Ryuji and Kushida is making like phones for people.
Well,
Or bedazzling phones for people. Yeah.
Bedazzling, yeah, that's a good word.
Bedazzling, yeah. A little bit of like sparklers, and maybe a bit of like confetti comes from the ceiling when you say that. Bedazzle, right?
Yep.
Yep.
And I think the interesting thing with this scene is Minori like notices that Ryuji's looking over at her doing it, and she's like, oh yeah, I decorate phones. You want me to do yours? And Ryuji's just like, nah, I'm too scared.
Well, yeah, because he's doing the old-fashioned, I can't show that I like them because that'll scare them away kind of deal.
I mean, if I was in high school and a girl I had a crush on offered to bedazzle my phone, instantaneous yes.
Well,
there would be
that's
no
because
hesitation.
You're a slightly more confident human being than most
Am
people.
I in high school? No.
I don't know, because I'm telling you,
it's been a few years. It wasn't a good time.
It wasn't a good time for a lot of people. Most people, I think, look back on their high school years in the United States anyway and say, wow, that was a mistake.
Yeah. I think that's why a high school anime might be such a thing. You know, it's nice to look back and realize everything that never happened in
what a nightmare that was.
Man.
Yeah, so Ryuji kind of turns it down because he's all embarrassed and stuff, and then he regrets it because he's a loser.
Yeah.
But of course, Taiga's like all mad at him because that was his opportunity. So she's like, oh, come on, what the fuck?
Yeah, it was also way more awkward to deny it than to just be like, yeah. It was really awkward. And Taiga, like, straight up is like, you're just really bad at interacting with her. Which is an interesting scene, I think. Because it shows that both Taiga and Ryuji have way more awareness when it comes to other people, other people's relationships.
Well, because the whole point of the beginning of the show, or like the entirety of the show, is to show that even though these guys are chasing after these other people, they're basically just hopeless around the people that they're chasing, and they're very comfortable around each other. So you're the whole time you're like developing this sense of like, why the fuck are they going after these people when they literally live together? Like,
Yeah.
and they're basically perfect for one another. Like, that's that.
That's a good point to talk about. Where one of my worries for the show is that it's already super obvious where this is going, and if it stays like this until like the very final episode, it's gonna be frustrating for like the middle of the show. Which I could definitely see happening if they don't have like a good story. I don't want you to comment on this.
Well, I'm just gonna
if it
say,
happens.
I mean, I could see where that would definitely happen. And in fact, you might still even be bored. But of course, I'm going to say I was not bored, and I have watched the show 4 times to the point like that is how unbored I was. Like,
Yeah, no spoils.
there's no hiding that. But I mean, I could definitely agree if you finish the show and say, man, that middle bit was dumb, because I mean, it's already to a point where you could be like comfortable with them just like acknowledging feelings for each other.
I think it's going to depend a lot on if they take the route of doing more comedy and like social drama between characters that aren't Ryuji and Taiga.
Not to spoil anything, but we've already alluded to the blue hair girl, so there you go.
Well, yeah, she's obviously going to take a few episodes, but
she's
like this is the start of the show.
Throw a wrench in everything.
I mean, this is a 2-core show, and we're only on the 3rd episode, so I don't entirely want to rely on her throwing real wrenches into anything and it not being frustrating.
Right.
But yeah, that's the big worry. I really don't want this to turn into like a weird romance triangle for half of its runtime. Now, Kimi ni Todake didn't really suffer from that. It had a lot more character moments.
I haven't seen it.
It's a good show. Very long though.
Yeah, in my opinion, it doesn't. It's not a problem. Of course, that remains to be seen.
Yeah, you're not supposed to reply to that. You know, you're supposed to be like,
Right.
Yeah.
But I think
fake me out.
Having seen it 4 times is evidence enough, to my opinion, on the next few bits of the show. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway,
so we go past that. Oh no, the rice cooker, Ben.
Yeah. Rice cooker's broke, and then Taiga is like, let's go to this family restaurant, Johnny's. Of course it's Johnny's. And Ryuji's like, oh man, this is dumb. I should have just made rice. And then, of course, Minori shows up because she works everywhere, all at once, all the time. And Taiga knows this, so she brought him there to get them together.
And she very quickly realizes this was a mistake. Ryuji is like, Ryuji immediately, as soon as they sit down in Johnny's, he's like drooling over Kushida. Well, yeah.
Because that's like, again, it's playing up their relationship together. This whole episode is really about that.
Yeah, but this time
last episode was Taiga.
This was really the pervert eyes, Ben. This was in a waitress outfit. Not a normal waitress outfit. That was a very short skirt for a waitress, Ben. Very short. And he was looking.
That's the point, though, dude.
It is the point. But I think it's still reinforcing the attraction here isn't real. It's kind of just physical and kind of just like an idealized thing. I don't think it's
just physical at all.
Well, no.
It's just very lofty and idealized.
A lot of it is physical because he wanted that.
Yeah, and that's not abnormal, okay?
Still, just tip to anyone out there: if you're sitting with people at a table, and you turn around to stare at the waitress as she walks away, they're gonna think bad things about you.
Yeah.
Not from personal experience, just throwing that in there.
Definitely not.
But yeah, that's where I'm coming from with Ryuji here. I think this really shows a lot about his relationship with, what he thinks his relationship with Minori is, because Minori very clearly is like already kind of considering him a friend.
Yeah, but what's cool to, or not really, I don't know. What's interesting to see is that he tends to do even like when they leave, he's still dwelling on what happened, like because he's so clammed up in the moment, and he can't really do anything in the moment because he's an awkward loser around Minori. He just kind of goes through it in his head after. Like the first time
He's like,
they
oh shit,
talked,
did I do the wrong thing? Did
no,
I
the first time with
embarrass
the
myself?
phone, he's like, no, the first time with the phone, he's like at the sink washing dishes. He's like, oh man, that would have been great with her making a phone for me. And then later on, he's like, oh man, she looks so good in that waiter thing. And he's all blushing and stuff. And then Tyga punches him or something.
Oh yeah, Tyga punches him bad this time because he gets
I
a
don't even
black
think
eye.
it is. No,
No, this is one of the first ones.
she
where,
just gives him a death glare.
Yeah, soon after though, he wakes up with a black eye. So something happened there at some point in that sequence of events. But
Yeah, but and there's a punch animation. There's like a punch sound. And it's the joke.
yeah,
Goes
again,
away soon after though.
I'm kind of like, I'll talk about the like secret agenda of why we originally started this at the end of this. But I'm just marking down here to note that there is a moment with Ryuji getting a black eye that is there. And then we skip forward in time a little bit and see that Ryuji has just stopped cooking. Like, he uses the rice
'cause he
cooker as an
wants- yeah.
excuse.
It's like, let's go back to the restaurant, Tyga. And Tyga's like regretting her entire life at that point.
Especially because Tyga like let him know that she works at like a breakfast place.
Well, yeah, that
and
was
like a bunch of other stuff as well.
Yeah.
It was really just not a good decision. Yeah, we also start to learn a little bit more about Ryuji's mother, who works as a hostess at a snack bar. And then probably my simultaneously favorite and least favorite and most anime scene of the show so far, an old man, literally the subtitles said cops a feel of Ryuji's backside because he wants to experience Murano's DNA.
Yeah.
That is like verbatim to what happens. And my comment was just fucking whack, bruh.
Fucking whack, bruv.
It was a religious moment in the show, and it was also I don't particularly like that scene. I think it's a little much.
It's just a way to introduce not only what his mother does, but the kind of people she hangs out with, you know? Like the kind of people that frequent the snack bar at night.
But I think the big thing is the like lack of reaction that this gets.
That's like the whole show, though.
I know,
I don't
and
know.
that's a problem in my mind. I think this deserved a reaction, like at least a like, wait a minute, what the what? Which like there's a brief moment of that, but I really just think the show could like do it with a bit more self-referential moments, you know. And then guess what? Guess who works for the old guy?
Beanery's right there. Bam. Selling him
Bam.
something. I don't know.
It was alcohol.
No, it was
No,
not.
actually, it was fish meat snacks.
It was
That's
a fish
written right
sausage.
here.
I just watched it.
Yeah, it's for because they were hungry for breakfast, and Minori is like, "You want some fish meat?"
And this is kind of the point when you're starting to think like, well, Minori maybe isn't quite as all right as she puts on the surface, because even Tyga doesn't know that she's working this new job, and Tyga's like her best friend, right? And everybody's like, wait, why are you here working another job?
We also did kind of skip over the bit where they start to pry, or Ryuji specifically starts to pry into Minori's like financial situation, and Taiga's just like, "That's not really cool, dude." Which is kind of, see, that's what I mean when I'm like, the show needs to like respond to what happens in it more, because you get that moment of Ryuji asking like a question that is probably not something that should be like public knowledge, and then Taiga being like, "Yeah, you shouldn't ask that kind of thing." And then it happens with the old man, and then no one really responds. And it's just kind of, it's a little weird because the show kind of treats these things very differently.
Yeah, because it's switching tones back and forth quite a lot.
Yeah, I don't think this does it as well as something like One Punch Man or shows like that really do handle that tone switch very well. I think from the first 3 episodes, Toradora is not one of the shows that handles the tone switch as well as I not would expect from it, because I really didn't expect it from it coming in. I expected kind of what I'm getting, which is fine. Like that's not bad.
Yeah.
It's what I wanted, so I don't really have a real problem with it. I just think it's definitely something that exists there that is kind of just weird. And I think the show could do with more referencing itself when things like that happen, and just for consistency's sake.
I suppose, yeah. I don't have a problem with it really at all. And I think if anything, it's I don't know. It's not quite a problem in my eyes, but of course, understandable that it might be for somebody else.
Yeah.
Yourself included.
So we'll definitely talk about this more when we're
I think we should have
further
like a
along
whole
the show
episode or something about like tone switch in anime or something, because that's a thing that I think anime does more than Western media. Like Western media tends to be like, all right, this is a comedy, everything's funny, or like this is a drama, everything is a drama, except maybe there's a few jokes, but not at the expense of the drama. Where anime tends to have like, the shows will have like just two genres. Like Sangatsu no Lion, March Comes In Like a Lion, is like one show that everybody complained a lot about these tone switches, where it's like it's a story about some dude who's just really depressed, but then there's like jokes that come out of nowhere, and you're kind of like, why is that how that is? But I think that can be done really well, and actually can be a benefit to a show sometimes.
Well, I think if you want to look for that in Western media, you're probably looking at a lot of films, because they're short enough that they can really explore that and not get locked into problems with it.
I'm not saying it's absent in Western media, but it's much more prevalent in anime, is what I'm saying.
I don't know. I probably disagree with you on that, but that's something we'll probably end up talking
another
about
episode.
More. Yeah. I just like throw out Wes Anderson movies. Watch them; they're good. They kind of fit in that line of tone switches. But yeah, so following this, the note I have here is the old man essentially asks Taiga if she wants to work there. She doesn't ask Ryuji. She specifically asks Taiga, which is old man hiring young girls to work at a shop. That's a little weird.
That is not abnormal. Like, that's literally normal.
It's normal. It happens in real life all the time.
It's stupid.
It's a little weird.
It's dumb, and it's a little weird, but it's normal. Like,
and I like that the show does this, because it doesn't like directly address it. It's kind of the thing, because I don't think Ryuji or Taiga realize it in the moment. But it is specifically like something that there is a distinction between him asking both Ryuji and Taiga if they want a job, to specifically addressing it to Taiga.
Especially because he just grabbed his ass. Like, so he's like familiar with Ryuji, or at least he, thinks he is in some way.
Familiar. He wanted Murano's DNA.
Right. But what I'm saying is, like, there's some connection to Ryuji in some.
Yeah. So then Ryuji kind of inserts himself and is just like, we'll do it. And the old man is okay with that. So it's not as weird as it would be if he wasn't okay with that. But
well, he's obviously doing it because he wants to work with Minori.
Yeah. Well, Ryuji, obviously, yeah. He's doing it because he wants to work with the girl he has a crush on. And he's just roping Taiga into it. Which I think is fun, because at this point, we've mostly seen schemes that Taiga has kind of pushed for, and not really Ryuji causing shenanigans. Which I think is fun.
Ryuji causes some shenanigans.
And I think it really shows how much Ryuji's personality kind of changes when he's around Minori.
Yeah.
He's like really tunnel vision.
And then, of course, we get, soon after they start working, another little character flaw of Taiga that she probably would rather hide behind her more outgoing and aggressive nature. She can't ride a bike.
Yeah. It's really sad.
It's that character thing that most tsunderes don't have. It's like the two-sided. One side, she's all this aggressive and stuff, but Taiga's actually just a kind of a loser, and it's adorable, and I love it.
Yeah. And then, like, around the same time, we also get Taiga's getting very frustrated at the job that Ryuji is forcing her to work.
Yeah,
and
because he did just force her to work the job.
Looks like she's about to kill someone.
Right.
It's pretty good. It's one of the times when I really think Taiga is quite justified in being extremely angry about the situation.
Well, this is the thing. I think the show actually does a decent job of distinguishing when Taiga or anybody for that matter is actually angry
Yeah,
or it's just a joke. Like this, you can tell Taiga is like
Taiga
not
is
just
frustrated.
being a tsundere. She is actually angry because
She
she's
is
just running
mad.
and screaming with a bicycle down the road. And then like later on, she's like, "Jesus, why am I doing this?"
Yeah, and I think it's just like a lot of character consistency in that. Generally, you can tell if Taiga's legitimately angry,
Yeah.
despite the fact that she is a tsundere character. And you can also really tell when Ryuji is like being an idiot because he just acts so differently in certain situations, usually involving Kushida.
Always, literally always involving Kushida. He's like really mature everywhere else.
Yeah,
And then he's just like a bumbling idiot around Kushida.
yeah. So we go past that. Taiga is now not in the shop
She's
anymore.
just run off with the bike.
Yeah, she's run off with the bike trying to
Gone.
deliver things. We'll get to her later. So Kushida needs to move things to a storage locker. Ryuji offers to help, and Kushida's like, "Yeah," and he's like, he basically implodes in his heart that
Right.
she is letting him help.
Because it's the shed scene. Even anime characters are aware. They're self-aware of the shed scene. Everyone knows.
Oh, they're so self-aware. It's we'll get to that in a minute, and by a minute I mean right now. They go
Right.
in. Minori literally says we'd be in big trouble if we got locked in. What a fucking surprise they got locked in.
They got locked in. Right after they get locked in, we get a little cut to Taiga falling down the side and being like, "What the fuck am I doing?" And then, what's his name shows up? Kitamura.
Kitamura.
And
AKA
we see
Taiga's
she's
crush.
she's still kind of useless around him. So
Yeah, and there's also a weird reference here to something about him watching Taiga a lot last year, which got me thinking there's going to be some backstory.
it's a backstory.
Now, I'm going to take a wild guess here.
Take the guess.
All right. He
And I'm
spent
not
a
gonna
lot
answer.
of
I'm not gonna
time
say
watching
anything.
Taiga, right?
Right.
And Taiga is now spending a lot of time watching him. So what if, hear me out, what if he asked Taiga out first? And she said no.
What if?
What if
he did that?
He did that, she said no, and then she realized that she actually is kind of into him.
Right.
But like she didn't ask for like a year, and he got over it and is now kind of realized he just had a crush, and
Imagine if
it's
that
just
might
like
have
a complete reversal and extremely awkward. Yeah, that's
yeah.
prediction. The important thing to note here is I at some point watched some amount of episodes of Toradora. I don't remember how many. I thought it was like up to episode 7. I think I was wrong because I don't remember Blue Haired Girl at all. So I think I might have just watched to this episode.
Reached the point, right?
Yeah, this might be the point where I'm like completely blind now. I had vague memory of the shed scene. So I think after this I will be 100% blind. Yeah, aside from knowing there's a Christmas episode at some point. I know that happens, but I don't know what it is. So, yeah, that's the blind watching talk.
And then so she gets back from her little conversation with Kitamura
By learning to bike.
I mean, kind of.
Kind of. She
falls down
anger
all the time.
bikes.
Right, anger bike, and she falls down all the time and stuff. And she gets back and she's like really upsetty. She's all bruised up, dirty and stuff. Now she wants to find them. But where did they go?
Yeah,
they're stuck in the
real
shed.
angry.
They're still stuck in the shed.
And then it skips back to them. And the thing I just can't get over here, why are they singing the school anthem? I mean, I thought it was a joke when Minori mentioned it at the start, like it was just like there's some inspirational quote in there they need to know. But they're just singing the school anthem, and I'm like, why?
Because they're trying to calm their nerves, dude.
What's that gonna do? You're locked in a shed. Like, break the door.
I don't know. It's the same reason she starts singing like "Picture Baby Doo," you know that thing.
Well, yeah, because she's pitching
It's
and she's
calming the
scared.
nerves. Because she's actually
Yeah, she's actually scared.
shook.
She's
And this is where you
shook.
start to see, like, oh man, Kushieta's not quite so secure as she puts on.
She's just really good at putting up a good face.
There it is, the nail, and you had the hammer, and you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah,
into the board.
That's what I do. And I really like the bats her fears right out of the park bit. It's really great. It makes me just quite happy about the existence of it.
With a bottle, with like an empty wine bottle or something.
Yeah, they're playing weird softball with a wine bottle in it.
Yeah. This is when Ryuji's
ball.
like, oh man, you're actually shaking. Like, you're actually afraid.
Yeah. And then eventually they notice the window. And at that point, my reaction was dead ass. How did it take you that long to notice there's a window in the shed? Because it's not like they realized they could possibly use the window to get out. No, it's like they've just now noticed the window.
Because they needed to be scared. Okay? So the plot demanded that Kushieta was afraid.
Yeah, I'll
and they
accept
can't
that.
be afraid if they just can't even climb
I'm
out
really
of the
not
window.
as upset about the window as I'm making myself out to be.
I mean, you could probably be like, well, they saw it, but then they didn't really think about trying to get out because it's like at the ceiling. Like,
yeah. So they start stacking boxes to get out, and one of them goes right into Minori's face, and she has a nosebleed, and it's kind of weirdly cute. She's very determined. I think Ryuji might have had like a miniature heart attack right there. Maybe not a miniature one. He might have had a full-on heart attack and just kind of contained it really well.
He's monologuing too right now, and he's like, maybe that glow that I always see isn't actually all that bright. And then I don't know what he says after that because I'm not there yet.
Yeah, he kind of. It's weird. It's weird.
He's starting to realize, like, wait, human people have actual emotions?
Yeah,
Wow.
Just to add on for people watching this, when Ben is saying he's like not there yet, it's because he has the episode playing to correct me if anything goes wrong. So he's kind of scrubbing through it to just fact checked. So my reaction after this scene is, this is a weird relationship because they keep going fight on, and I'm like, it's kind of cute, but at the same time,
no, it's because she plays fucking softball.
No, I like Minori and I like Ryuji. I think Ryuji is just super fucking awkward. Like,
yeah, that's it. And they get to know each other better over time, and it gets less awkward.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it will, because I think you see that right now. Ryuji is less focused on like the oh shit I'm in love with you aspect, and more focused on the oh we're hanging out aspect.
And that's also when you kind of start to worry, like, you're like, oh well, Taiga and Kitamura really didn't work out. Like, there's no two ways about that. But then you're here and you're like, wait, this might actually work out.
Like, but the same thing
What's
happens
going to happen to
with
Taiga,
because with Kitamura you don't really have an idea until Taiga asks him.
Right. And then of course he comes back, so you're like, oh, maybe there is hope. So there's no, like, it's not really off the table, but it's definitely a harder
it's off
no
the table.
than...
It's off the table.
Yeah.
That was a no.
It's off the table.
There might be some waffling. They may go on a date at some point. It's not going to work.
Right. So, but like that's kind of the thing, is where
especially
Taiga's
if what I predicted
really
is true.
In a bad way in that situation, and Ryuji's like not so much in a bad way.
At least not yet. We don't really know.
Right, but like you can already start to see how that might be the case. Like, he's not already like been denied.
Okay.
Down, so.
Wild idea. What if Minori is lesbian and blue-haired girl is also lesbian?
Now,
and that's
without spoiling anything,
the conflict.
I bet you could find some dojins.
Okay, well, I really don't want to look that up.
I don't think you should.
That's not a real prediction, by the way. It's not a real prediction. Don't.
It was
quote me on
just
that.
a joke.
It was a yeah. It would be funny though to see a show like that where it actually just turns out
it's got to exist somewhere.
It has to exist, probably in a really bad Yuri show,
or like a manga. I mean, that's probably more of a manga territory thing.
Yeah,
you don't get that kind of thing animated these days. Not in Japan.
That sounded a little harsh there.
I mean, it's just the truth. You hardly even get any Yuri or yaoi shows these days. So
you really get the
great
Yuri
cuck? No.
Oh, I have found you.
Mitsuketa. Yeah,
Yeah, Taiga is
because
angry.
she's really, really worked up, and then she jumps on his
She's
head.
quite frustrated that no one's there. She doesn't know where they are. She's angry that they're like hanging out in a shed, and she's all like sad and dirty from crashing her bike so much. So she gets a ladder,
and
climbs up
jumps
the
on Ryuji's
building,
head.
breaks the window, jumps on Ryuji's head, and accidentally kicks the ladder.
The real question is, why did she use a ladder, climb through the window, when she could have just opened the goddamn door?
Well, she was angry, and she probably heard them through the
That's
window
true.
and went in through where she heard them. I think that one's easier to justify.
Yeah, I've never even thought about it until right now.
Now,
Like,
what
why
I
does
really
she not
like,
just go through the front door?
what I really like about the handling of this scene is the fact that it just ends with them all locked there. You don't see them get
Yeah.
out, and then they get out.
Yeah,
I'm
obviously.
gonna assume that the next episode doesn't start with them getting out.
No, they get out of the shed.
But yeah, I like that they don't have to.
Well, 'cause it's not
They know they
important.
don't have to show that. It's not important.
I mean, the punchline was Taiga jumping in. You didn't need to go any further than that.
Well, the punchline was Taiga jumping in, and then them slowly realizing that Taiga
Wait a
kicked the
second.
ladder.
Yeah.
Because Minori and Ryuji are just super happy that Taiga's there and they have a way out.
Yeah.
And then it just slowly dawns that,
Oh
the
no.
ladder's gone.
Yeah.
Probably just threw each other out the window, to be honest.
They probably just jumped. I mean, it wasn't
imagine
that
them.
high, really.
I mean,
Maybe a twisted ankle.
that was
You're
a
fine.
full-size ladder there. That's like a good
Yeah,
5 to
but
6 feet.
You could do it.
That's an
You could
easy
handle
fall, but like,
it. No, it's probably
is
more
a
like
little
10
high.
feet. Are you kidding me?
yeah, it was probably more. They might have broken legs. Maybe we were skipping ahead like a year.
That's fine. It's whatever.
Yeah.
No one cares because it's not in the show. That's why.
Yeah, I do just like that ends with them locked in.
Yeah.
I think that's the kind of moment where like not showing things is just better because the punchline would not be better for them showing them getting out. It would be worse.
It would be way worse. It would take away the whole effect, like, because then the show like goes on too long, and then you forget about the joke, and instead now you're like, oh yeah, right into this banger of an ED.
Yeah, and it's also that scene is a microcosm for my worries about the show, to where if we know what's gonna happen with the characters is gonna happen, which we do, Taiga and Ryuji are gonna wind up together. It's so easy to see. We don't even need to pretend it's not going to happen.
Again, it's always easy to see. Like, that's the point of most romance shows ever. It's like you get introduced to these two people, and you know at the end they're gonna get together. It's about how you get there. It's the journey, not the destination.
I don't necessarily think so. I've seen a lot of romance shows though, so it's kind of.
I mean,
I've seen a lot of weird
at
ones
least
as well.
it's not all of them, certainly, but
I think it's a lot of visual
there's-
novel adaptations are like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's enough that there is definitely a space for knowing and the journey, not the destination.
Yeah. But that is like my biggest concern is that we do wind up just treading water on relationship things when I don't think it'll be a problem because I figure the show has good enough characters and like availability of comedy. It's not like a straight romance. It's a rom-com, and I think they can do a lot with the comedy aspects because these characters are all likable. Like, there's not a single character in the cast that I don't like so far.
Yeah, and that's the strong suit. I mean, it's not just the romance; it's everything else as well. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how well this is handled, especially coming from seeing a lot of romance shows from this era, where it's all that happens is they wait until the last episode to do anything, and it might happen in this show, but it'd probably be less of a problem because it's a better cast or a bigger cast. Whereas in shows like Kimi ni Todoke, it's really just focusing on the main two characters. Yeah, I can't remember the show I'm specifically thinking of because I've kind of blocked it from my memory, but there was one.
I feel like that's one of those reasons why a lot of people, or at least me, I get more invested in romances that aren't in like strict romance shows, because like when there's other stuff going around, it adds a lot of context to what's going on.
Yeah.
like they go through different things together and stuff like that, and that is more compelling than, oh, we go to class every day and we want to hold each other's hand sometimes. And
Maybe.
he gave me chocolate, and
No, remember, it's Japan. She gave me chocolate.
she did give him chocolate, and then on White Day something else happened. I don't actually know how that works, to be honest.
Yeah, neither do I.
You give him sticky notes on White Day.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah. I didn't look that up. I just said it, so don't quote me on that one.
Yep. All right. Yeah, I think that's why I like shows like My Love Story. That show's real good. If anyone hasn't seen it, it's just very fun, and you don't spend a lot of time on the drama aspects. Oh, I remember the show. It's called Peach Girl. That show. It's about a girl named Momo. Get it? Because Momo means peach.
Yep,
and
I do get that.
she has there's the wild guy, and then there's the prim and proper guy.
Yeah.
And the entire show is this weird love triangle. It's really entertaining. It's actually a pretty good romance, but man, it is frustrating.
I mean, speaking of frustrating, Kaguya-sama, holy shit.
Yeah, that is
that show is structured around not confessing. But that's completely different. That's for another time.
Yeah, we're getting really off the topic of Toradora. Yep. I think that's our mark. You could have watched 2 episodes of Toradora in this time that we've spent talking about 1 episode.
And that's the content you come here for. Needlessly deep and analytical conversation about a show that really isn't that deep.
I don't know. We'll get into that. We'll see. Maybe it is that deep, Ben. Maybe we're not taking it at face value. Maybe we're taking it. I
maybe
don't know where
we're
I was
not
going
deep
with that.
enough.
Yeah, maybe we're not deep enough. Yeah, that's about it. This is why I think we chose to do this episode as a single one, is because there's a lot to talk about in this episode about the handling of rom-com
that if we
elements.
went for another 4, it would have been a 4-hour podcast. So
hey,
none of us have that much
time. It might happen at some point. I'm just gonna say there'll probably be a break in the middle somewhere, but at some point there is the possibility of a 4-hour.
We'll have an 8-episode mega cast, 12-hour podcast.
Yeah. Aside from that, I think that's all of it today. Cap out on thoughts of the ending. I like the music a decent amount. I don't like the visuals of the ED. I think it's just very standard.
Yep.
The bit where they're all coming together with the umbrellas is neat, but
I'm excited to see it grow on you. And then when it goes away, you're going to be like, I'm waiting for the moment. When it goes away, it switches over to the second ED, and you're like, why is it gone? And I guarantee you're going to say it. So
yeah, the important thing is I watch the OP and ED every episode when we're doing this, so I can actually write down thoughts about them, or at least remember them. I don't know. I forgot to write them down this time, but. Oh, no, there it is. Purre pa.
Yep, nice.
There's the note. But yeah, so I do watch them every time just to remind myself of what they're like. So I will have evolving opinions of them until they disappear forever. I'm going to miss
And if you're not
Purre
disappointed, you're not a human. I'm not going to lie. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll see whether or not you're a human being. If you are a robot, I'm sorry. Probably going to have to kick you out. So, yeah.
We'll see about that. Well, thanks for watching our stupid listening. Probably, I don't know why you would watch this. There's just a logo.
Be sure to keep in touch with the channel by looking at it every once in a while, because every Wednesday there might be a new episode. You never know.
There's a thing you can do. It's called subscribing.
You could subscribe.
Well, I'd say it would let you know if the podcast happens, but YouTube really doesn't always do that.
You could also look in the sidebar. There are other YouTube channels there, our 2 personal channels. I make stuff every once in a while, once a month at this point.
Yeah, I'll make stuff at some point, although that might get moved to this channel. I'm not certain. We'll see. So that'll happen. The other thing is, this episode, our audio setup is a little bit changed. So if you watch this far, let us know if you think this is better or worse than last episode. I'm using a different cover for my microphone, so it probably has slightly more depth to the voice, but the plosives might be a bit bad. Looking at it, it seems fine, but just in case.
Well, yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and see you next time on the 001 Radio. This has been
Podcast.
Ben and Ryan from 001. Signing
Yeah.
off. I don't know.
I don't know. That's
We
what they
we
do.
don't
It's
have an
like,
ending. Yeah.
we don't have sponsors either. We don't really thank them.
Sponsored by
Don't say any brand names.
Apex
We could get sued.
Legends.
Oh, damn, that game's
shit.
good.
It's a good game. I'm gonna go play it right now, actually.
Yeah, so am I.
Nice. We should do I don't know.